Hello and welcome to the Bold and Gold podcast. My name is Elijah Winfrey. Joining me, as always, is Patience Beach, and we are here to talk about all things Georgia Tech athletics. I got my Georgia Tech hat on, Lake Placid hoodie on, but it's because it's like 40 degrees up here in upstate, New York. So bear with me, folks. Okay, normally I'm not really a hoodie guy, but I had to throw one on today because it's a little cold. Patience, how is it going today, my friend?
It's going good. How are you doing?
I am doing good now that we're talking about Georgia Tech football. I am curious, though, where you are, what's the temperature? Because like I said, where I am, it's like mid 60s right now, but it was 40s for the most of the day.
78 degrees.
Perfect.
It is 78 degrees.
Well, I expect things to be pretty hot in your neck of the woods, especially come Saturday. And of course, I don't know Georgia weather right off the top of my head, but I do remember that for you guys having a day in the 60s is pretty chilly, and for us up here it's obviously much less. But anyway, we're going to talk about last week's game here against Western Carolina. Of course, we played two games last week, but we want to talk about that Western Carolina victory. Georgia Tech 35, Western Carolina 17. I want to start off with my impressions of the game, then we'll go to Patience here. So first and foremost, I talked last week, Patience talked last week about Carlos Davis for Western Carolina. We told you, we said, hey, this man is dangerous. He knows how to play football. Now, unfortunately for Western Carolina, they have a lot of season left to be played, and they might have to do it without him because he did get injured against Georgia Tech. Want to wish him the very best in his recovery for whatever injury that ended up being. He didn't look pretty, but he started off the game very, very pretty with two deep touchdowns. And again, as soon as that happened, I immediately looked at my wife and I said, this is exactly what I was telling Patience I was afraid of. But then Georgia Tech took a deep breath. They got it figured out. And from that point on, Western Carolina only scored 3 points. Georgia Tech scored 35. And in that game, what I thought was impressive was the amount of attention shown to the running attack. Georgia Tech scored 5 rushing touchdowns. Dante Smith had 3 of those touchdowns, and the defense got 4 takeaways. Now, after a win like that, I would expect our fan base to be excited about a win like that, especially since we had a couple of losses against teams similar to Western Carolina in the last 2 years, including Citadel and Northern Illinois. And yet after the game, I found myself getting in a little bit of a brouhaha with some of our fan base because I basically said, hey, let's not be ignorant about this. A win's a win. And people did not like that when I said that. So maybe I could have chose better words, but my point was, hey, let's be excited about a victory, especially when we win against the teams we're supposed to win, because that's what good teams do. They don't just, upset every once in a while. They win the games they're supposed to win, and our boys did that. So for me, I'm happy with the victory. I'm not really necessarily concerned about the passing attack because it seemed like the rushing game was where it was at that day. And if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. So, when you're running the ball and you're getting touchdowns every time you do it, just keep running the ball. Any coach will tell you that. But I want to throw it over to Patience for her thoughts on the game. You were there, Patience. What was it like in the stadium when Western Carolina scored those 2 touchdowns?
It was very quiet, to say the least. We all knew, we talked about Carlos Davis last week. We knew coming into this that they were coming in, they were going to come out strong. And we know Carlos Davis, looking at his stats, we're like, okay, this is going to be a tough challenge. And they came out and they did just that. They scored the 2 long touchdowns, and I was just sitting there like, I don't want to be shocked because I expected it, And unfortunately, like you said, Carlos got hurt, but I'm telling you, he was even better in person. And he's a great guy. It was crazy. 18 of 27 passes, 233 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was phenomenal. But the feeling, it was rainy and icky. It wasn't the very best football weather, I would say. But we still showed out, and I thought the crowd, was pretty decent, because of the rain and stuff. I thought, even though that happened, I thought it was a great crowd. But they were good. But I thought, you know what, we've got to step it up. Something's got to click, because nothing was clicking in the first quarter. And I was like, okay, guys, we something's got to start clicking. And Let me tell you, Dante Smith is a star. That dude, I was like, feed Dante every time, just feed Dante. That's why I kept telling my dad when we were there, because they were trying other stuff. And I'm just like, okay, nothing's working. I thought, you know what, feed Dante. And I'm not trying to shade any of the other running backs because they were all phenomenal as well. But Dante, I mean, 3 touchdowns in the first half, 72 yards. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything more from a running back. And I thought he did phenomenal. Jeff looked solid. Defense, they kind of had a rocky start, but once they got into a groove, I mean, it was lights out. And I really thought they did a phenomenal job, especially in the second half, holding Western Carolina at only 3 points and then scoring 35. So I was very impressed, and I hope they carry this momentum into this weekend, which we'll get, we'll talk about that. But overall, I was very impressed. And no, it wasn't the best weather, but I thought fans did a great job showing out. Students showed out. I don't know if y'all saw the picture on Twitter from Ken Segura, but those students showed out, and I was very happy to see that despite the weather and different things like that.
Yeah, and I think you make a great point, because when it comes to the student section, it makes me wonder if we should try to have more night games, because I feel like when we have night games, the students are able to get there, but whenever it's Saturday during the day, for whatever reason, you don't normally see as many students as you used to. So I wonder if that's something that Georgia Tech will try to either get more night games or later kickoffs, like a 3:30 kickoff. I wonder what the strategy will be there, or what really they have to do with that, because I don't know that they get to choose what time the games have kickoff or not. So I'll be very curious to see how many of those students show up this Saturday at Bobby Dodd, and I hope every single one of them does. Do want to talk about something that is near and dear to me and Patience's heart, and that is taking care of these Georgia Tech football players. They have just launched the Jackets NIL Club, and this is pretty cool. So if you're a Georgia Tech fan and you signed up for updates as far as this Jackets NIL Club, you might have been wondering, is this thing going to happen? Well, it was just launched, I want to say about 24 hours ago. I'm going to read you the letter here that I have on my phone, so bear with me as I look down here. It says, our team has come together to launch the Jackets NIL Club. If you're a fan looking to support our whole team, this is how you can do it. The Jackets NIL Club is a membership-based community that allows fans to financially support and interact with our team. Fans can join the JNC right now by making any monthly commitment to the club. And I'll come back to that part here in a second. Commit what you can. Every fan is welcome and every dollar counts. Proceeds from our NIL Club will equally support the 100+ members of our team that are participating in the club. Benefits of becoming a member include the following: financially support our team and ensure we are a leader in the era of NIL, meet and greet and Q&As with the players, film breakdowns and other player created content, a community message board, and chat to connect with the squad. And if you're interested in supporting our club, check them out at jacketsnilclubcom. Again, that's jacketsnilclubcom. And here's what I want to say about this. So in the era of NIL, one of the big things that's been criticized is, okay, if you want to have it set up where the guys who are playing really well have the opportunity to, have money coming into them because they play really well in the form of, advocating for somebody's business or a product, that's fine and dandy. But what about those kids who are on second or third string? Those kids who don't see the field very much. This is, in my opinion, groundbreaking, game-changing, and it's coming from our guys here at Georgia Tech, because I would not be shocked if every other college adopts this similar situation here. Because this is something where, while those first stringers who are out there balling are certainly going to get their opportunities, those second and third string guys who are putting in just as much hard work but are not necessarily seen during the games, they're going to have that opportunity to make some money with this. So I was very pleased to see this happen. I hope that people support it. I know I plan on supporting it whenever I can. And as far as the price of it, they're saying donate whatever you can. So if all you've got is $5 a month, instead of getting a cup of coffee, you go and support Georgia Tech's football team, you can do that. And that $5 is just as important to them as somebody who's donating 50. But I wanted to give a little spotlight for this today, because obviously, we're a podcast that's all about the players. So why not support the players? So I wanted to take a couple minutes to say that. And I did actually have a conversation with somebody from the Jackets NIL Club to ask about what is the frequency of the content that will be coming out so that you know what you're in for? Because nobody wants to give money and then go months without seeing anything. So this is what they said. They said that they'll be launching a weekly podcast for the club, which they're very excited about. There will also be monthly calls with the players to discuss the team and upcoming games. So that's on top of what they said in their letter yesterday. And obviously, as they release things, we'll keep you updated on this, because I think this is a big deal. And again, I could see every single college going to something like this so that everybody on the team benefits, not just those who are, putting up 3 touchdowns a game or, having multiple interceptions. But Patience, what's your opinion of this? I mean, this is new, this is fresh. So what do you think about this, and are you going to support it?
I think it's fantastic. I was looking into it a little bit yesterday because I saw a lot of the players promote it on Twitter and stuff, which I love. I think it's great because, like you said, you have meet and greets, you have Q&As, you have the interviews. I think it helps connect you to the players on a more personal level. And I saw where they were doing, I think it was a month or two ago, they had a VIP event, as they said, at Topgolf, and you could just golf with Jeff Sims or whoever. I think it's great because it shows that the players care about the fans too, not just you caring about the players. And I was looking to it yesterday and I'm like, man, I could do this too. Like, I could support them and I could get, more in depth with them and connect with them, ask questions, whatever. And they'll be nice to answer it and not think I'm foolish or whatever, I think it's great. I think it's a good platform now, especially with the football program and stuff. I think it's great to get their voices out there, get their voices heard. I think it's a great thing. And I definitely want to support it if I can, for sure.
And again, folks, that web address, in case you're curious, is jacketsnilclubcom. And I also wanted to bring this up because not everybody uses Twitter. And that's where I've seen this mainly promoted. So if you're somebody who's never really used Twitter, that's not your thing. Maybe you're a Facebook person, Instagram person, whatever, a YouTube person, make sure jacketsnilclub.com. And I love the fact they are not boxing out people who are balling on a budget. Okay. So if you're somebody who doesn't have a ton of money, but you love these kids and you want to support these kids, this is a good opportunity because you can literally, contribute whatever amount you want. It is a monthly reoccurring fee though. Just want to make sure I mention that so that people aren't surprised when they say, wait a minute, I'm getting charged every single month and I don't know why I'm getting charged. That's why. Okay. That's why. But again, contribute what you want. You get some pretty cool perks to it. There's no tiers here, so everybody gets the same stuff. So for me, I think that's really awesome. So whether you can donate $100 or you can donate $5, you're going to get the same thing. But again, if you can, please support these kids as they continue to provide us with a reason to scream at our televisions, get next to the couch, go out to the games every single Saturday. So just wanted to make a mention of that. But again, jacketsnilclub.com. Right now, I want to shift focus here for a second to talk about something that I think a lot of people are either going to be really happy with or they're going to be really angry with me. So I'm going to pin myself here so you're not angry at Patience, okay? So she's off screen right now. You can't be mad at her, okay? You got to be mad at me. But I wanted to talk about the University of Kentucky for a minute. And you might be immediately wondering, where is he going with this? This is the Georgia Tech podcast. Why is he talking about the Kentucky Wildcats? Well, here's why. Kentucky did something that not a lot of other teams have done, and that is they've shown patience. Okay, now, yes, that's kind of a play on words. We have Patience who co-hosts a podcast. They did not show patience, okay? They show patience in their decision making. I just want to clarify that. So Kentucky showed patience because they hired Mark Stoops back in 2013. And I can tell you, as somebody who briefly lived in the Lexington area whenever I was in 9th grade, that for Kentucky to win 5 or 6 games a season, they were happy with that. They're a basketball school. They have no shame in their game when it comes to that. They were a basketball school. So when their football program beat Bowling Green and they got bowl eligible by the hair on their chinny chin chin, they were more than happy to celebrate, okay? They did not have high aspirations for the football program when they hired Mark Stoops. But they did. They hired Mark Stoops, and he came in. He said, "I want to change things. I want to change the culture. I want to get more people to donate to our football program. I want things to be better here for these kids playing football at Kentucky." And then 3 years into it, he was 12-24 as a head coach at Kentucky. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because at that point in the game, a lot of athletic directors, a lot of colleges would have said, okay, man, you had 3 years. All right, you had 3 years. It's time for put up or shut up. And if you don't put up, then you got to get going. You got to hit the road. Because they literally went 2-10 his first year, 5-7 his second year, 5-7 his third year. That fourth season, because they showed a little patience, he won 7 games. His fifth year, he won 7 games. His sixth year, he won 10 games. His seventh year, he won 8 games. And then he had a little bit of a setback in 2020 where he only won 5 games, which, let's be honest, in 2020, who didn't have a setback? I think we all were hit pretty hard in 2020. 2021, they won 10 games. And so far this season, they're 2-0. And oh, by the way, last weekend when Mark Stoops led the Kentucky Wildcats to a victory over the Florida Gators, he passed Coach Bear Bryant for winningest coach in Kentucky football history with 61 wins. Which, by the way, if you're saying Bear Bryant coached at Kentucky, yeah, a long, long time ago he did, before he ever got to Alabama. And I was thinking about it as the seconds were ticking away on the Gators and they were not going to be able to win this game. I was thinking about the incredible patience that the Kentucky athletic department showed by not letting this man go when many other colleges would have said, look, it ain't working after 3 years. And I was just thinking about that because we have a coach who's in his 4th season. And I wonder sometimes, you know, if this year doesn't go as hot as we hope it will, we think it will, and we get rid of him, what are we going to miss out on potentially? Now, granted, after a win at Western Carolina, we probably shouldn't be talking about, you know, whether the coach will come back or not, but it is something that our fan base has been consistently talking about for the last 2 or 3 years, if we're being honest. And so I just thought, you know, with all these other colleges kind of being a little antsy, being a little anxious with how quickly their programs come back to life or, you know, get to where they're hoping to get to, how interesting it is that Kentucky said, you know what, we trust this man. He loves our school. We're going to stand beside him. But Patience, I was just curious what your thoughts were on that. I don't know if you've ever really done a deep dive into Kentucky or not, but yeah, you know, Mark Stoops winning as coach at Kentucky now, 61 wins and counting.
Honestly, that blew my mind. You talking about that, looking at it from like the big picture over the years, because it's like you said, after 3 years, it's like, nope, you're gone. It's not working. We're not doing this. You're not winning. You're out. Like you said, the patience they showed to keep him around to see, let's just see what happens. Let's see what he can do and where he can take this team. Even though we've had a few rocky years, you know, let's see where it goes. Why not? And to see him now winning and how he's doing, I really hope and pray that, you know, like you said, even if this year, if we don't get to where we expect or hope, whatever, that they will take a chance and let Coach Collins do his thing and see where it goes. Because I think so many people are like, oh, fire him, 3 wins, fire him. Like they're so used to like, oh, we got to win, win, win. They don't look at the big picture overall, which is what we've talked about these past, you know, a few episodes. We've talked about that. And I think that if more people would give him time, that they could see what he can do. And you never know where this team could go. We have so much talent that I think it is very possible to have seasons like Kentucky where you go 5-7, 5-7, whatever, and then you're like 10 wins, you know. I think it is very possible. And I think that if Georgia Tech fans would just have some patience, that they would see what he can do and that he can take this team, you know, above and beyond and past what our expectations are. Right now, there's all about firing because of how the last few seasons have gone, which I understand that. But I just think so many people get feisty and over their head and they're quick off of their emotions that they just want to fire everybody. And I'm like, well, what is that going to solve? What is that going to accomplish? Nothing, you know, because we're going to have to rebuild again. And so it's like patience is key. That is the biggest thing that I have said through these past years with Coach Collins, just patience, just be patient and see what happens. And, you know, if it continues this way, then we'll see what the athletic department does, what Todd Stansbury does. But like you said, I think they should just take a chance and just see where it goes. And if it doesn't go the way we expect it, you know, then they'll make that decision. I'm not making that decision, so I'm good. But patience is key.
And just last note on Kentucky here, because I want to throw this out there for folks who don't pay attention to them. Mark Stoops obviously didn't go to a bowl game those first 3 years with a 2-10 record, a 5-7 record, and a 5-7 record. But that fourth year, he did get to a bowl game. They lost that bowl game. Then the next year they got to a bowl game. They lost that bowl game. Okay, so again, we're adding layers to the story here. After that, the last 4 years, they've been to a bowl game and they've won every single one. So 6 straight bowl games for Kentucky football, which, again, if you do your research on them, that's not a stretch that they're really used to down in Lexington, or I should say up in Lexington, in comparison to where Georgia Tech is. But I just wanted to throw that out there because, again, if you're looking for a program that you're like, hey, I want a similar situation that shows me some hope, that, to me, that is that similar situation. We do want to head over to Patience here as we start to boogie here because we're running out of time with Inside Bobby Dodd. I'm excited about this segment. Patience, what do you have for us this week on Inside Bobby Dodd?
Well, I did a little more research this week into that. And a few interesting things that I didn't even know was happening. See, I've done so much research. This week, I kind of got into it a little bit deeper because, I wanted to find out new additions to the stadium because I've heard so much about, we're adding this and adding this. Well, I'm like, what is it that you're adding? Because I didn't hear very much about it. I did hear that there is a new RecFest location, which I talked about how they have, the inflatable space painting, interactive games. They have food vendors and more, and it is 3 hours prior to kickoff each game day. So like this past one, it was at like 4 or something. I don't want to get too much into that, but 3 hours prior. And that is, it's actually in a new location. It says that it's located on Bobby Dodd Way between Techwood Drive and Britton Drive on the north side of Bobby Dodd Stadium, just steps away from its former location at the Callaway Plaza. That's where it has been, because that is where I go in my gate, is Callaway Plaza. That's where it always been, but they moved it over and they've added more. But I thought that was interesting because they have a new location, and I didn't realize that till this past Saturday too, when we were there earlier. I saw that. And then there's this new thing that Andy Demetra is doing. It is the Callaway Plaza pregame show, which I thought was very interesting. It is a game day, an all new game day preview show that is that is on the Callaway Plaza video board. It says that the preview show will break down that day's on-field matchup and give fans a taste of what to expect once they enter Bobby Dodd Stadium, which I actually had the opportunity to watch it this past Saturday. And I thought it was very interesting because I've never seen anything like that before, but it gave you an in-depth of the matchup and what to expect. And if we've played them before, previous history. So I thought that was very interesting. That's another new thing. Section 131, there's a gathering area. It's located in the southeast corner of Bobby Dodd Stadium. It says the Section 131 gathering area is a great place for fans to meet up for fellowship and fun with a view of the game. It said that the area will include expanded concessions offerings, pub-style high top tables, and a great view of the field, giving fans an opportunity to meet up with friends without missing any of the action of the game. And I thought that was pretty incredible because you don't really hear about that much at college football stadiums. I mean, maybe you have. I haven't really done a lot of research into that specifically, but I have seen it like NFL stadiums, like the Falcons Stadium, different things like that, which I think is pretty awesome. And I'm excited to try it out because I'm not in Section 131, but it would be worth going down just to see it. Merchandise, we talked about this. I talked about how there was like a mini Barnes & Noble set outside the stadium, but there's actually a merchandise loft located in the West Festival area of Bobby Dodd Stadium. And it is kind of like another, I don't know what the word is, but kind of another mini Georgia Tech bookstore on wheels, as I say.
Like a kiosk, right?
That exactly. Thank you. I was trying to find the words. That exactly. It is located in the West Festival area, and it is expanded offering of Georgia Tech gear. So definitely go check that out. It says located in the West Festival area of Bobby Dodd Stadium. I'm definitely going to check that out because I did not know that was a thing till this past Saturday again, because I did more research. about that. And if you enjoy alcohol and non-alcoholics, Burdell's Beverage Company says that fans will have 2 additional opportunities in 2022 to purchase beverages, alcoholic and not, without standing in a line at a traditional concession stand with the creation of Burdell's Beverage Company. So it's in 2 different locations in the stadium. It's in section 112 on the north end of Bobby Dodd Stadium, and then at section 126, which is outside of the club lounge on the east side. So there's 2 different spots. So that is section 126 and section 112. So if you love drinking and all that stuff, go check it out. And then this doesn't really include inside Bobby Dodd Stadium, but I thought it was a fun fact. Talking about giveaways, we talked about that as well. I found it interesting. This past weekend, they gave out water bottles with that said ATL on it and had like a little Georgia Tech symbol, which I thought was very cool because it gives fans, an extra boost to come and you want to get free gear, whatever, they had that, which I thought was very interesting. And this weekend, it is family weekend, and their giveaway is a Georgia Tech ball cap, which I really hope I get because I love wearing ball caps. That's my favorite. But apparently, there's going to be a giveaway every single weekend. So I'm very excited about that. And I will definitely look more into that. And hopefully I get some, because last week they were not handing it out at our gate for some reason, unless I missed it, which I was there earlier, but whatever. Anyway, so there is a giveaway this weekend. It is a Georgia Tech ball cap, and it is family weekend. So I'm excited about all of that. I know I did that pretty quick and hopefully not too long, but I found that very interesting as I was reading into it a little bit deeper even more than I knew. So I thought it was very cool. So what are your thoughts about it?
Well, I think it's great. And I think that, we'll see Georgia Tech continually add things the more that they host outside events. We obviously had the Rolling Stones a few years ago. You had Atlanta United playing some games at Bobby Dodd. And I have a feeling when those things happen, the folks in the athletic department pay attention because they're sitting there going, okay, this is a professional event. What are they doing at these professional events? Kind of like the players would look at game footage. Athletic departments, I would imagine, look around themselves and go, okay, what are these other places doing? And how can we simulate that experience so that we can get more people into Bobby Dodd? And when they host that game at Mercedes-Benz, I bet you they're walking around going, okay, what are they doing here for Falcons games? And what can we try to replicate for our fan base? And obviously, the big part of that is our fans showing up. So while I talk about the 4-2 defense, Patience, if you could do me a favor on the fly here, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot, if you could try to figure out how many, you don't have to know how many tickets are left, but what the price of tickets are for this weekend in case somebody's trying to buy tickets on the fly here. I believe you can find that out on ESPN.com. But I'm going to pin myself here, talk about the defense for a little bit while Patience is looking that up. And what I want to talk about is our overall defense, the 4-2-5 defense, because I found this to be somewhat interesting because I was watching my Lions on Sunday and I realized that my Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets and my Detroit Lions both run a 4-2-5 defense. Now, I don't know how much your football knowledge is at home. So when I say this, I'm not trying to be condescending in the least. I just want to make sure that you understand what's going on here. So when I say 4-2-5, I mean 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, 5 defensive backs. And one of the things that kept happening to my Lions as they played the Eagles this past Sunday actually happened to my Yellow Jackets as they were playing Western Carolina. And that was when you're playing a mobile quarterback, it can stress out a 4-2-5 defense. The reason why, and I can't screen share here, otherwise I would. The reason why is because you have a weak side safety who on passing plays is taught to get depth because they're supposed to get depth to help out those 2 linebackers with all the field they have to cover. And when they do that, when they drop back into coverage, they get that depth when they see the quarterback dropping back to pass. If you have a mobile quarterback and they see that your weak side safety is dropped back in coverage and they take off running, you're going to have to do a little equation. And the equation goes like this. How fast is that mobile quarterback? And how much depth has that weak side safety created? And how quickly can that weak side safety close the gap to stop that mobile quarterback from getting 5, 8, 10 yards on that carry? Because again, it puts your weak side safety in kind of a very difficult situation because they're supposed to back up. So they're doing what they're supposed to do, and they get burned because of it, because of how fast that mobile quarterback is. The other thing to consider here is when you blitz your weak side safety. If you blitz your weak side safety and he does not get to the quarterback and get him down, then that offense will make an adjustment. And what that adjustment was against Western Carolina was they ran their running back out on a wheel route. And that running back was wide open, okay? Now, that's not necessarily the weak side safety's fault because he's blitzing on that play. But you also don't have anybody else there to cut off that running back. So it's kind of a dangerous thing because you want to blitz the quarterback, you want to get in his face, but if you're not able to actually get there and get the guy down on the ground, you're going to have somebody running wide open. And on passing plays with a 3-by-1 formation, 3 wide receivers to one side, 1 wide receiver to the other, if the quarterback's dropping back, again, your weak side safety is taught to get depth. When they get depth, if it's a mobile quarterback, that could hurt us. So that is something to keep in mind. Now, with my Lions, they play a lot of stationary quarterbacks. With Georgia Tech, they play a lot of mobile quarterbacks. So that's something to keep an eye on with this 4-2-5 defense, because when they get there, oh, it's a beautiful thing. But when they accidentally miss the quarterback or they're playing with somebody who's got a little wiggle in their play, it can be very frustrating and it can lead to them running for first downs. And then we're screaming at the television saying, what are you doing? And in reality, they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do, which is drop back, get depth. And it's just, like I said, a simple equation of mobile quarterback versus the depth that you've created and how quickly can you close that gap. So that's just something to keep an eye on. Patience, were you able to find how much tickets are this weekend?
Yes, sir, I was. Okay, so this is what I was talking about a few weeks ago as well. The competition, who you play, just depends. So for this, the lowest ticket on here is 42. So it's anywhere from 42 to 570,
Okay.
depending on where you want to sit. But this is what I was talking about. It depends on who you play. Like a Western Carolina, $20, $10, whatever. Ole Miss is going to be a little bit more, but it is also worth it because there's not a bad seat in the house. And I'm so sorry, I forgot to mention that on the inside. I had that written down and then I forgot to mention it, but I'm glad you reminded me. But I'm looking on here and it says anywhere from 42 to 570. So again, depends on where you want to sit. Upper level obviously is cheaper. But really there's not a bad seat in the house. No matter where you sit, you're going to get a great view regardless. So if you want to pay a little more, then it is totally worth it. But like I said, it depends on where you sit. And also with competition, who you're playing, it depends on the pricing as well. Because like I said, Western Carolina cheaper, Ole Miss is going to be a little bit more. So yeah.
and Georgia Tech is finally wearing the gold jerseys once again. So I'm excited about that.
I am so excited. I saw that video and I was like, finally, let's go.
so gold jerseys on Saturday. And I got to say, to the Georgia Tech athletics department, I have never seen patients more frustrated than when we finally complete an episode and 5 minutes after we're done, they put out, here's what's new at Bobby Dodd. Patience is like, really? Now you do that? So help Patience out, please. I'm just saying. But Patience, great job on Inside Bobby Dodd today. We got 5 minutes left in our episode, so we got to go quick here. Ole Miss, Patience, a minute here. What are your thoughts on this Ole Miss game?
Win, get to the quarterback. I mean, I've done a little research on Ole Miss, not too much, but I hear that they have 3 different quarterbacks and they're all big time weapons. So get to the quarterback. I think defensively, it's got to click right out the gate. They got to come out strong, stay strong the whole 60 minutes. And the running backs, you've got to get to them quick because they can, like you were talking about earlier, I mean, they can get to you quick and they can do a little bit of damage. If you're not paying attention and getting to them right away, they can do some damage. So I think importantly, just get to them quick and be mindful of the guys surrounding you and just win. Because I think it's a huge matchup, which I'm excited. I'll be there. So, and wearing gold because they're wearing gold. So I'm really excited, but just get to the quarterback, get to the running back, stop the run game, and just win.
Well, I'm certainly with you on the just win part. For me on defense, I got to say, I was really happy to see 4 takeaways last week. I would love to see some more takeaways against Ole Miss. There's a rumor going around on Twitter, and I don't know how much true, how much you should put behind this rumor, that Ole Miss's starting quarterback is hurt. But as Patience just told you, we're not in the early 2000s anymore. Teams don't just use one quarterback that much anymore. So they've got 3 of them. So let's not look at that as that's going to be some type of advantage, because it very well might not be. Defensively, I want to see them finish the play in the backfield, because there are so many times early on this season where we have gotten to that quarterback, but we have got to finish the job and get him all the way down on the ground for a sack.
Don't let him escape.
Exactly.
That was the big thing in the Western Carolina game. Especially
with that 4-2-5 defense. And for fans out there, before you start screaming on a wheel route, remember, in a 4-2-5 defense, that weak side safety is taught to get depth. So what we have to hope for is, when they're getting depth, whenever they face a 3-by-1 situation, when they're getting depth, that we are getting to the quarterback. And if we blitz, we got to hit. We got to get home on them blitzes. So for me, that's one of the keys. The other one is the passing game. Now, we didn't pass much against Western Carolina because we didn't have to. So I wasn't that concerned about it. And against Clemson, the passing attack looked good, minus the drops from our receivers and tight ends, which looked a lot better against Western Carolina. But we have got to see a balanced attack, running the ball and throwing the ball against Ole Miss. It cannot be a 50% completion day for Jeff Sims. We got to see at least 60% and no turnovers, no stupid penalties. This is a 3:30 matchup on ABC. It's going to be a big game. So if you can't get there, make sure you watch it, and we'll see what happens. One other note I wanted to throw in here, just because I thought it was kind of funny. Alabama, obviously they barely survived against Texas, 20-19. And Nick Saban came out this week and said that we may have just seen the final depth chart ever at Alabama, because he's sick and tired of his second stringers practicing like they're second stringers. He wants everyone to be ready to play in the game. Does that sound familiar? Because that sounds familiar to me. And everybody's talking about how smart Nick Saban is for that. I said, well, we got a coach who's been doing that for the last 4 years. It's called the ATL chart. And yeah, maybe Jeff Collins can call up his former colleague and say, here's how I do it. But anyway, we got a minute left to go here. Patience, you wanted to talk about, other favorite teams. So I'll give you a couple here that I look at. They're not favorites, but I look at them every Saturday. Kentucky, Hawaii, Connecticut, Army. Those are some of the teams that I look at. Who for you, Patience?
I got to go with Tennessee. It's random. I know I got to go with Tennessee. Do love Arkansas. Anybody playing Georgia, I love them too. You got to add that one in there just for fun. I mean, they're not my favorites, but I do, like you said, I enjoy watching them, other besides Georgia Tech, first of all, but if I had to say add to Army too, I love watching Army. The triple option, sometimes when it works, I love watching it. But those are just Army, Tennessee, Arkansas, and anybody playing Georgia.
All right. Well, hey, we got to go. Thank you so much for watching Bold and Gold. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you next week.